the speaker today. Devendra, first of all, a very dear friend, down to earth, and always ready to help. Then I'll come to his professional introduction. I am Bangalore when we couldn't have even dreamt about it, and factory president, entrepreneur of the year, the list goes on. And he speaks on varied topics. Today he's speaking on a subject called Science of Happiness. We are all really excited about it. He also speaks on multiple other subjects. We request him to come again. Also, if possible, join this group, and it's twice a month. I'm sure you can take out some time out of your call. The best part about him is punctuality. I've seen him past 20, 25 years. Even to a party, there are occasions he's before the host. Today, he was there sharp 9:45, and he has played golf till 9:30. And he was here at 9:45. Kudos to you for that. That's something to learn for all of us. Particularly the Hyderabadis. We don't believe into that. 8 baje ka invitation hai, to what he told today just now to me that Hyderabadi ka wo samajh ke 7:30 invite hai, to mere auto tune ho jata 8:15. Hyderabadis ka 8 o'clock invitation hai, auto tune is 10 o'clock. Nobody turns up. So that's why host also doesn't turn up. And then there are few people like you who embarrass the host. Including today. I came 1 minute later than him. I know. So, Devendra bhai, welcome. We're looking forward to it. We're waiting for you.
Don't bring it again. Thank you again.
So, Harish was speaking here about 2 weeks back, and just now Devendra was telling that you are the lucky one who got a one-on-one session of this presentation.
When the flight is delayed.
Yes, the advantage taken.
Yeah, advantage.
All right. And you have come today for your wife because she wanted to listen. That's right. Totally must be I jealousy.
Yeah.
All right, over to Devendra.
Thank you, Girish, for having me. And nice to be here in a group of friends. And Harish, don't embarrass me by asking stupid questions. I have the mic today. I can say anything. So, yeah. So, I've been talking, like I said, on various subjects, and somebody just commented, you seem to be always happy. I said, yes, we should be happy. Then he said, you should talk on it. I said, there's so many speakers on happiness that there's no point in talking about it. Then I've been studying this subject for almost 10, 12 years. And I said, okay, let me make it interesting. I'm an engineer, I know science. So I said, I'll call it the science of happiness. Science of happiness means the physics, chemistry, and maths of happiness. Very clearly, I'm going to make it so simple. So coming to physics, physics is obviously I have some poetic license when I talk about physics of happiness. So physically we require 4 things for happiness. Now, most important physical requirement of happiness is 30 minutes of exercise a day. As simple as that. You need to do 30 minutes of exercise every day if you want to be happy on a long-term basis. Second physical requirement, you need to have 30 minutes with nature. Every day, you have to spend 30 minutes with nature. All of us know when we are with nature, we feel happy. We don't know why we feel happy, but we feel happy. Whether it's a seaside or a garden or something. It is to do with our roots because we came from animals and fishes. That we love the environment we have come from. So we need to spend 30 minutes every day in nature. This is not something which I've just made up. I've heard this, and I've heard this from somebody who has done an extensive study on this. How they have done the study, they have taken people people who are under depression, they put a lot on anti-depression medicines, somebody on nature, somebody on 30 minutes exercise daily. The nature and exercise trumps anti-depressant. So it is very important for us to put 30 minutes into exercise, 30 minutes into nature. The third physical requirement of happiness is also very, very simple. You need to take 3 deep breaths, 3 times a day. The idea is not taking in oxygen. The idea is emptying your body of stale carbon dioxide. We all know when we are stressed, we take very shallow breaths. And the carbon dioxide goes up in the body and it doesn't help you to be happy. So 3 deep breaths, 3 times a day, preferably when you are stuck somewhere in a traffic jam or when you're getting a little upset or before going into an important meeting, take 3 deep breaths. It will help you to be happy. Very simple, doable, tickable things. And the fourth physical requirement of happiness is you need minimum 6 hours of sleep, preferably with the sun. That is when the sun is not there. Minimum 6 hours. And there is a saying, all of you might have heard of the circadian rhythm. Our body goes with the cycle of the sun. There is a saying, every hour of sleep before 12 o'clock is equal to 2 hours of sleep after 12 o'clock. So you try to sleep more in sync with the sun. In our ancient time, we used to sleep from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, get up at Brahma Muhurtam, because that is exactly the center of the circadian rhythm. And that has a reason for it. There is science behind it. So these are the 4 very, very simple physical things which you need to do, which you can just stick whether you have done or not done. And if you're feeling low and you've not done one, be clear that it is because of that. I'll come to that why I'm saying this. So physics is very simple. I always got 100% of physics. Then we come to chemistry. Chemistry of happiness. There are 4 chemicals of. You don't need the notes. I've given already this one. I'm sure they'll put it on the thing. All these points will be there. So you don't need to get distracted.
He's writing questions.
That's why I don't want him to write.
That's why indirectly he said, yeah.
No questions. Anyway, yeah. So the chemistry of happiness. Chemistry of happiness again is a very simple thing. I call it the dose. DOSE. There are 4 chemicals. Dose. Most of you would have heard it somewhere. You need to get a dose of it every day. The first one is dopamine. I talk about it the last. The second one is oxytocin. Oxytocin is a very important chemical which a lot of people have heard about it but don't understand the importance. Oxytocin is a chemical which you get from bonding, with friendship, with touching, hugging, feeling. So if I go and touch somebody, I get oxytocin, he gets oxytocin. You get that bonding feeling with that. It's very important in this modern day, especially for traveling people, to understand that the lack of oxytocin. The importance of oxytocin, please correct me again, doctor, if I'm wrong, that if there is a C-section, the first injection given to a baby is an oxytocin injection. Because the baby has missed out the maximum touch at the time of childbirth. Oxytocin is so important. And if you think about it, typically the person who touch the maximum will love the maximum. People start loving their spouses more than their mothers. People start loving their pets more than their children. Because you stop touching, feeling, hugging children. So you have to understand this oxytocin and the importance of it in our daily life. So आजकल जो वापस हो गया छप्पी मारने का, Sanjay Dutt's छप्पी is a very, very scientific thing. It's very interesting, very important. Whenever we meet, we are starting it again. It's good, not just a shake or a namaste. So oxytocin is a very important chemical. Second important chemical is serotonin. S, serotonin. Serotonin is a chemical which we get when we help others, when we pray, when we meditate, or when we laugh from our stomach, huge laughter, like you do. So you get a lot of serotonin. Serotonin is again very important and missed out in our modern life. See, we've all become modern, and somehow we have not been in that prayer and meditation. We don't give that importance because we think we are science people. But the prayer and meditation is giving you serotonin, which is helping you in your happiness. And the problem is more, serotonin is much more. Probably I'll cover a little bit more about serotonin. Serotonin keeps you calm. Serotonin allows you to take risks. You don't have serotonin, you will not have risks. Once you cross the age of 50, your serotonin uptake becomes slower. So as you see, people over 50 will be less risk prone. They will become more towards meditation because your serotonin in your body doesn't take up and your calmness goes up. Serotonin comes from prayer, meditation, laughter, helping others, charity. आज किसी के लिए कुछ किया, I help you do something. I don't know whether it will help you or not, but I get my serotonin. All these chemicals have to be produced in house. ये करेंगे तो फायदा नहीं है, including oxytocin. You have to generate these 4 chemicals every day if you want to be happy. Oxytocin, serotonin. The third one is the easiest, endorphin, which comes from exercise, games, whatever. So you have to have that exercise. They are commonality. It gives you that endorphin, and endorphin is again another chemical which makes you happy. You realize, suppose you don't do exercise for 2 days, you somehow feel down. You don't know why you're feeling down, but because your endorphins in your body have not been released. So you need these 4 chemicals to be released on a daily basis. Now you know how to get them. So if you're feeling low, if you've not got one of them, take it. Do it, whatever it takes. If you don't have a kid, if you don't love your spouse, get a pet, but do it. Get your oxytocin.
Endorphin.
All three. The fourth chemical is a dangerous one, that's why I left it last. Dopamine. Dopamine is the chemical of achievement. If you achieve something, if you have a goal and you have completed it, you get dopamine. So it's good, you need to get it. But also what happens is dopamine you get when you buy something. When you eat chocolate or something that you like, you get a dopamine kick. When somebody flatters you, when you win a video game, you have achieved something, you get dopamine. Dopamine has 2 problems. One, every time you get dopamine, the next level of dopamine has to be higher. Today I got it from a scooter, tomorrow from a car, day after from a Mercedes, next will come only from a plane. So dopamine is a dangerous chemical, and we tend to compensate with dopamine. Take a bottle is dopamine. We tend to compensate with dopamine if you don't get the other 3 chemicals or the other 4 physical things. Because dopamine is easy. I can go out and buy, I have money in my pocket. So dopamine is a dangerous chemical because it can be addictive and it is ever increasing. And you should not use it to compensate for something else because you'll get that momentary happiness. But if you've not got the oxytocin, dopamine cannot pick up for it. That's why I'm talking about dopamine the last. Yeah, you think. You fool yourself. अरे दारू की बॉटल पीते हैं, ये से झगड़ा हो गया. That doesn't make it good enough. That problem has to be solved there, not by dopamine. Dopamine is easy. I can go out and shop a bag. What help you? That's what I said. Video games. Video games when you win, they are big dopamine kick. You want to keep winning the video game. Candy Crush, अरे 6 मिल गया, 10 मिल गया, whatever the thing. You get that dopamine kick.
I hear only negative side of dopamine, positive side.
Positive is there, achievement, sense of achievement,
It's required.
sense of being. Yes, it is required, but you should not overcompensate. You have to work towards success in your business. You have to work towards getting the car. You have to work towards getting your house. But don't make it overpower the other four chemicals. So it is a happiness chemical. No doubt about it, but it's a dangerous happiness chemical, which can lead to addiction. Facebook. Facebook likes dopamine. Every time you go, kitne log dekhe, how many people have seen me, how many people have acknowledged me that I have done something good. Dopamine. All this is dopamine kick. That's why I say that it is a dangerous chemical, especially in today's world. Because there is so much more of it available at an easier pace. So that's the reason dopamine is the
And people are substituting it with the other.
for the other things. So dose every day, get one. Now you know how to get it, take it off. For the physical ones, I made an acronym. It is a little stupid, but just so that you remember, NOS. Nature, oxygen, sleep, exercise. Dose and NOS. So tick those 8 boxes every day if you want to be happy. As simple as it. Physics and chemistry. Are we good?
Yes.
Next. Another thing very important before I get to the maths is the time frame. You know, the fourth dimension of this thing is time. Happiness can only be in the now. You can't be happy in the future or the past. You have to be in the present if you want to be happy. Anything which really gets you into that happiness mode will bring you in the present. You see a very exciting cricket match, you forget everything else, you're only watching that. You spend time with the baby, forgotten everything else, only the smile of the baby right now is what. You're playing a game of cards, you forget everything you are enjoying because you are in the now. A drink brings you into the now. You do skydiving, everything is forgotten, only that now. So only in the now is happiness. How do you get into the now is the question. What is it will bring you in the now and ensure that you are in the now? You remember that famous saying of Mahabharata, Karmanye Vadhikarastha Mahaphaleshu Kadacha. All of us say that don't think of the result, think of the work. I interpret it as think of the now, whatever you're doing now, be in that moment. Forget about what will happen or what has happened. Then you will be successful, you will be happy. Focus on the present. It's very, very important. Why I talk a little more on now and immediately after dopamine, because now is the other thing which makes you addict. Everything which addicts you brings you in the now. Bottle of liquor, drugs, games, video games. Video game when you're playing, you can't think of anything else. A game of rummy, cards, poker, anything which anybody is addicted to it. I play a game of golf, I'm addicted to it. Because when I'm playing golf, I forget everything else. I am brought in the now. So whether it is a positive or negative, all forms of addiction bring you in the now. And you are thinking you are happy because being in the now makes you happy, but you are in the wrong way in the now. So you have to come to now in the correct way to be happy. Addiction is bringing you in the now. Now makes you happy. You think you are happy because of the addiction. You see where I'm coming from?
Gratification.
Instant gratification is dopamine. But now is something you want to forget the past and the present. You want to be in the now, present. That also is, addiction. What brings you in the now can be addictive. A cigarette, a person who smokes a cigarette, when he takes his puff, he's forgotten everything else. He's just concentrating on the puff. And that's why he's smoking more than the nicotine. Because he's getting into the now. Same with the drinks. Same with everything which you can think of.
Positive addiction is good.
Positive is very important. According to me, it is more important than the physics and chemistry.
If the addiction is
Not a bad thing. See, for example, music. When I listen to music, I'll come in the now. It's not a bad thing. When I'm playing golf, other than for my wife, it's a good thing. So, everything which is there, he goes on a bike ride. When you are in fully in that mode, you are fully in the now. So it's a good thing. But get in the now is important, number one, and not get addicted in a bad way when you are getting in the now. That's why I spent a little more time on this because I think it's value for all of us to understand why we are getting addicted, why we try to eat a lot of dark chocolate or chocolates and all that. Because it gives me dopamine, it makes me feel the taste in my mouth. I can, just talking about it, I can feel the saliva coming in. So, that is what I'm talking about. It's not good, I know that, but it is there. So being in the now is a very, very important part of being happy. I think it's the most important part, in fact. I mean, there's a book by Eckhart Tolle now, which is very, very obtuse, but believe me, that concept is so powerful. He takes it to ridiculous levels that other than being in the now, you are not living on it. But for me, I have taken the fact that being in the now is very, very important for us. And we need to, if you want to be happy, you have to be in the now. Whether you come through to it by music or exercise or whatever form, meditation or just being with friends, talking on an interesting discussion, anything which brings you in the now is good. I like to talk a lot about being in the now. Now we come to the maths of. This is my latest module. Harish has not heard of this maths of happiness. I added this only about 10, 12 days back.
Even the now.
Huh?
You did not emphasize on now.
I talked about it. We were talking at the airport. So the maths of happiness is a very interesting thing which I just put it up. So physics is probably 10, 12 years old in my mind. Chemistry came maybe about 6, 7 years back. Now maybe about 2 years back. Maths is latest edition. Maths of happiness is very, very simple. Maths of happiness is equal to desires fulfilled divided by desires unfulfilled.
Questions.
Desires fulfilled divided by desires unfulfilled. So the numerator has to be increased. How do you increase the numerator? Keep fulfilling your desires, keep running after them, work 12 hours a day, finish your desires. Easier than that, practice gratitude. I've got such a good wife, I've got such a good bungalow, I've got such a good car, I've got such a good house. Every time you think about it, desires fulfilled is filling up. People talk about gratitude. We all have heard of it. Everybody has heard that you should practice gratitude. I'm saying put it in the maths of happiness. Understand why you should need gratitude. Because it's very simple, desires fulfilled. Keeps multiplying that. And all of us in this room have 100 plus desires fulfilled. 100 plus, maybe 1,000 also. Enjoying this lovely t-shirt, shirt, whatever. Hundreds of desires are fulfilled. We don't count it. We just take them in their mind and forget it. So, desires fulfilled divided by desires unfulfilled. How many of you?
biggest tool of realizing the desire to fulfill it.
Easiest way. There are so many other ways. Fulfill your desire.
Realize it.
Because you asked me the question, I'll tell you very quickly. But actually, I would have come a little. Warren Buffett is very famous. He says, I have only 3 things to do in a week. That's it. In a to-do list, there will not be more than 3 things. Everything else should happen. What does that mean? He's concentrating only on 3 desires which he needs to fulfill. Unfulfilled desires 3 hai, which have to go on the top. At the bottom, there are 3 which have to be moved to the top within the week. If you have 20 in the bottom, which you have on your to-do list, 20 desires unfulfilled. So focus on the 2 or 3 things which you are working today only, as keep them as desires. Everything else you can just keep a checkbox in your mind or somewhere, but not in your mental framework that these are the things which I need to do from morning till evening, 20, 50, 100. So, how many of you are math students?
So, reducing.
Devendra, yaar, come on, yaar.
Yeah, sorry.
मेरे भाई का नाम करते हो।
So, reduce the denominator of.
I'm coming to that. No? Obviously, that is more important part. बोला पहले पूछता था। Good friend of mine. I am allowed to make happiness out of it. So that's what I'm coming. Math students, engineers know one thing. If when you want to increase the number, increasing the numerator से ज़्यादा important है decreasing the denominator. So how do you decrease the denominator? The biggest enemy of reducing the denominator is FOMO, fear of missing out. The minute you have fear of missing out, you are increasing the denominator. Things which you will never do, but you are putting in desires unfulfilled. FOMO का मतलब ही वही है. The literal meaning of FOMO is that because you are not able to do it, and you are putting it in the denominator. So first of all, FOMO has to be banned from life. Once you have decided that today I am going to go and listen to Devendra Surana, ठीक है, half an hour, business कम हुआ, 10 लाख कम कमाया, हरीश, no problem. No FOMO. No FOMO for that.
Absolutely no.
So basically, FOMO is the biggest enemy of happiness. Like I said, Warren Buffett, keep the things which in the denominator to a minimum. I'll tell you. Bucket list, increasing the denominator. All of us like to put a bucket list. एक चीज लिख करते उसके पहले दो लिख के रख देते. That I want to go to North Pole, I want to go to South Pole, I want to go to this, that. You are increasing the denominator. Even though you have just come from a great holiday, you want to add 2 more to your bucket list. You are increasing the denominator. So you are not happy because you have completed one thing, but you are happy because you still have in mind the 4 more things have to be done. So don't have bucket list. Don't have fear of missing out. Don't, I can go to the level of Buddha's. There's a very nice saying. We have a lot of time. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So there's the story of this guy king coming to the very famous guru who has come to the city. The guru is supposed to be known throughout the world, and the king comes to the guru. Guruji, I want happiness. He उससे बात कर रहा है, not even looking at me. This fellow gets more angry. Guruji, I want happiness. Somebody comes and explains to the guru, king है, बोला तुम उसको समझाओ, मेरे को मत समझाओ. So he tells the king, his guru, why do you want to take this? So he says, he says, stop. Remove the I. First of all, you remove the ego. If you remove ego, half your problems are solved. King understands. Okay, want happiness. Remove the want. If you remove the ego and you remove the want, you are left with happiness. Similarly, if you remove all the desires unfulfilled, you are at infinite level. Much easier said than done. I know it's not possible for us in modern life to have zero desire. But it's very interesting to know that if you have this desires, concentrate only on the one which you are actively pursuing now. Take everything else out of your mind space. Take everything else out of your mind space. I have this desire. So I'll give you my example. I have 2 daughters. Both were to be married. It took some time. So I was very clear. Everything else is autopilot. My main focus is my daughter's marriage. Anything comes for my daughter's marriage, I'll leave everything else and I will go for that visit. I will pursue that opportunity. So what happened? My desires unfulfilled was only one. And my focus was 100% on that. The second, third, fifth, be very clear. This is my main desire for this year. So this year, my main desire is my son has come into business, I have to mentor him. That is my single most important desire. Maybe once that happens, I will be building a house. That will become my single most desire. And I'll be focusing on that. So it's very important to focus on one or two very important desires and be very clear in your mind. These are my main desires. Everything else, by the way, autopilot mein hota hai. 90% of your work is done autopilot. When you drive a car, you don't have to think I have to turn left or right. The car will turn. So let your life about other things go about that way, the way your car is driven. Other than the two or three things on which you put your full mind space. It helps you be happy, desires fulfilled, divided by desires unfulfilled. Nice one, Harish.
Very good.
Fix it with maths, physics, chemistry. I was thinking, physics, chemistry, both I'm a maths student. I said the easiest way of doing it is this.
Always brilliant.
Not only that, the new generation, you talk about them, I think you've dissected their mindset very well.
Or us also was. Are we free from that? Today, in fact, today we are getting 10 invitations. डॉक्टर साहब के पास तो 20 इन्विटेशन है रोज के एक ही जा सकते हैं फुलनेस में तो प्रोमो है नहीं फैक्ट राइट whether to sing or to dissect he has to take a call so FOMO is very important social media is very important social media we are all on social media we like to see what is happening in the world we like to see what is there but the indirect impact of social media is increasing our desires the entire marketing gamut out there, it's there only to increase your desires. If you are living in an unequal world, unless you have this awareness, you will not be able to reduce your desires unfulfilled. The whole world is there. I am there to increase your desires unfulfilled so that my business grows. Everybody is here doing that. So we have to be aware of ourselves, bring our mind space, केंद्रित करना चाहिए, centralize, center your mind to ensure that you are in that correct frame of mind to see that your mass of happiness is not out of sync. So before I break for some question answers, I'll give one more very very concept which is very close to my heart and which I feel all of us should be aware, which also affects our happiness but also overall our life. So there is one part of our brain known as amygdala. Amygdala is the part of our brain which is at the back of the brain. It is the oldest part of our brain. It has not changed since the reptiles. From the reptiles till today, that part of the brain is there in our mind. And that part of the brain is so important. And this Q was right on time. He walked in, the gate opened. You stopped listening to me. All of you. You saw him there. Why? Because that amygdala is telling you maybe there is a tiger and coming and kill. That amygdala in your brain is so powerful that anything out of the ordinary will attract your attention to it will superride everything else in the world. He came in, door opened, maybe there was a tiger, it could kill me, therefore all of us saw that. I'm sure I was more interesting than him. Sorry for joking. But all of us moved the mind from here to there because the amygdala was corrected. The amygdala overrides our brain. Why am I talking about it? मती क्या in Hindi they call it मती मारी गई तो हिंदी में बोलते हैं मती मारी गई so that amygdala is so overriding that it is important for our survival but it is so important when it gets activated everything else stops no rationality no mind no brain nothing so why am I talking about it in today's world tiger is not going to come Food is not going to be in short supply. Amygdala is for that only. Anything to do with survival, amygdala comes into play. But what happens because of amygdala being so powerful? It gets attracted to every negative news, every negative concept, every negative thought gets attracted to amygdala. If you don't vote for Modi, first country gap hard man. Your amygdala is attacked. If you don't do this, then तुम्हारा धर्म गया दूसरी जगह. All people of your this thing was there. I give this example. This election, Modi was talking about bridges, airports, construction, growth, LPG. Suddenly, Rahul Gandhi came and he said, if you vote for Modi, constitution is going to be changed. You will no longer live in this country, which is a constitutional democracy. We will become a monarchy. The narrative got shifted there. What did Modi have to come and say? If you don't vote for me, your Mangal Sutra is going to go. Your property is going to be taken away. Amygdala can be fought only with amygdala. Negative news can be fought only with negative news. The amygdala is so badly used by everybody. Marketing. Marketing is first thing of amygdala. You don't do this, you don't forward this WhatsApp. If you eat this thing, you'll get cancer. If you do this, you'll get this thing. And amygdala is the biggest thing happening. Believe me, we are in a world, we are in a space where we are the healthiest, happiest, safest ever. We are never going to have food shortage. We are never going to have, wild animal coming and killing us. But still we are afraid. We are afraid of everything in life because of the meter. And it's being over hyperactive. We are getting attracted to all negative news. So we have to remove all the negative news, negative stimuli, negative everything which comes in. Any of the WhatsApp which are threatening to kill you or your family or whatever, please don't read it. Definitely don't forward it, even if you read it. You are only increasing that negativity in the world, which we are already getting so much more attracted to, rather than just enjoying the air conditioned space, living the life, being this thing. Another place where amygdala is used. If you are a part of an organization, sorry, this person is there. If you allow him to become president, he is going to mess up this organization. The survival of the organization is put into question. I have nothing against this fellow man. Why are you putting the bloody gun on my shoulder to shoot him? You understand? You've seen this all over the place. If people want to put a gun on your shoulder, they will first attack your amygdala and say your survival, your kids' survival, your organization survival, whatever, your way of life survival is in danger, you must attack it. They have nothing to do with it. Sorry. So anyway, that is what I normally stop at for any questions, answers, and then take corollary areas if you are interested. If you have
Yeah.
time.
It's not curiosity. When we look at our,
It's not curiosity because your mind is not involved in it. Your mind is not involved. It is involuntary. It is totally involuntary. It's not that let me see. I'm giving you something which is more curious than that man. Come on.
That's the penalty of coming late.
So yeah,
So how do you overcome this? You have given the problem, but solution.
very, very interesting. That's the reason I don't complete the talk without the questions. So earlier days, suppose you were the king. Only Shruti will know what are the buttons which make Girish do something. Because nobody is aware what the king is doing, what is in the private life, what is happening there. Only Shruti knows like if I say this thing somewhere else about something happening in say Raipur. No, she's from Nagpur. Indore. Something happening in Indore. I know Girish will go and do this. He will create a puja here or whatever it is. I just have to say, अरे एक पैसा बहुत अच्छा हो रहा है उधर. So she knows the buttons for you. I don't. Anish doesn't. But in today's world, with our social media, with our Google, except all, whoever wants to know about us knows everything about us better than our spouse, better than us. Definitely better than us, even better than our spouse. So if they want to press a button, they can press a button, activate your amygdala and do things which don't related, look related and happen. What happened in Bangladesh was definitely that. What happened in Bangladesh, that uprising which happened, people knew what are the type of things, what are the stimuli which will make them angry. Few thousand jobs, the whole country went into flames. Anti-Hindu, nothing was there. It became anti-Hindu. No, change of government regime happened only because the people who wanted to orchestrate it knew the gameplay of how people will react. The Arab uprising. Because people know what is the mindset of majority of the people. Now we have been fed with so much anti-Muslim rhetoric. So something happens and we react in a violent way. What is the protection is the question that you ask. I'm just increasing the scope of the question. Because it's not only amygdala, but how it is being used to misinfluence influence you in the wrong way. The first thing in amygdala is protect yourself, become aware. Before you react, preferably, you first understand why did I react. Sometimes you might react, then also think, why did I react like this to this stimuli? Was it sensible? Was it rational? So if you take that realization to the next level, you realize because of this stimuli, I'm doing this. 90% of the time, it doesn't come to our mind, we just do it. And we don't even come to realize that we have done it because of this stimuli. So be very careful about when you react to anything, when you are taking any action, even suppose you've already taken the action, just go back and think, did I take this action for this reason? So that is one thing, awareness. Once you come to awareness, you'll start practicing. The second thing, which is more proactive, is get to know yourself better. How do you get to know yourself better? Is a very, very big topic in psychology. And people who have done psychology will know that if you know yourself properly, you cannot do management. Most of us don't. So there are techniques of getting to know yourself better. There's something known as the Johari window. All of us should use that technique. So basically what it says is, everybody has four spots. One is the known known. I know about Girish, everybody else in the world knows about Girish knows about himself. The second spot is, Girish knows about himself, rest of the world doesn't. Everybody has those hidden spots. मेरे को मालूम मैं ऐसा हूँ, but I will never show this part of mine to the world. The third spot is, everybody in the world knows about Girish, but Girish doesn't. Blind spot. All of us have blind spots. We all know that this person will come late, but he never thinks that he comes late. That's the simplest of the blind spot. But everybody has a lot of blind spots. And the fourth one is the most dangerous, the unknown one, which neither Girish nor outsiders know about it. The only way to protect yourself about this is be more transparent. If you become more transparent to others, your blind spots and hidden spots come down. So one, become aware of your actions, the reasons for your actions, preferably before the action, but even if it is in hindsight, be aware so that next time you don't make the same mistake again. A lot of us tend to make the same mistake in anger again and again and again. So become aware of yourself, about your actions, about yourself. So that is the biggest safety against amygdala. Plus, anything which is frightening you, pause. pause, pause, and then you move. Anything which frightens you. Okay, this is frightening me. Let me just take a step back. Whether I need to be frightened, number one. Whether the first instinctive action which I wanted to take is the right action, number two. So that is how anything which frightens you. I've stopped reading all messages about health problems in the world. The biggest health problem in the world is getting your body acidic. The minute you read about this problem, your body will become acidic. So, you're actually doing it without knowing. You read about the 20 things which can happen to your body. You'll get stressed. The minute you get stressed, your body will become acidic. The minute your body becomes acidic, it becomes prone to all the disease. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I've stopped reading everything. Forget about forwarding. Forwarding तो पहले भी नहीं करता था. Even reading I've stopped. Something is there, somebody will tell me. Any questions?
Very important question. You talk so well about happiness. How do you control the unhappiness, the anger? Anger makes you unhappy. Nobody's anger can make him happy. How do you control anger?
See, why I restricted to maths, science of happiness, I didn't want to talk too much in the air. But if you look at amygdala, 50% of the time, amygdala is triggered before you get angry. This fellow is hurting me in some way. That's why I'm getting angry. In lots of ways, not necessarily always, but lots of times, amygdala is a one part of the body which gets triggered before you get angry. That's why I talked about amygdala and how you control its responses, how you understand its responses. Same thing applies. Become aware. Why did you get angry? Was this reason right reason for me to get angry? How I can stop it next time? I mean, the answers are the same. The rocket scientists, but answers are the same. But amygdala is the one which comes in first. First, you need to understand this amygdala while being very, very important for our survival, for our evolution, for our very being. It is highly overused and too powerful in today's world. It's like we were talking, it's like the dictator in your mind. Might have been good for some time, but अभी थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही हो गया. Hope that gives you a little bit of clarity.
Into imperfection of the generally it's said that
Absolutely.
perfection is and we want everything in a perfect manner. So leave some room for imperfection.
I think it's a very, very important part of life. Nothing is perfect. We have to make the best of whatever is the situation. And the minute you start thinking of it, you'll be, like I said, look at the gratitude. There are so many things. Imperfection. You all heard the 99 Club. 99 Club. Have you heard of this or shall I tell you the story? So, the stories about Akbar and Birbal. And Akbar and Birbal are walking and the gardener is there. Akbar is upset. This gardener who's working for him, it's nothing, has no house, nothing. And this fellow is fully laughing, smiling, happy. What is this Birbal? मैं उसका राजा and I'm not happy as him. Birbal says, you want to see him unhappy? Akbar says, okay, challenge given. Okay, tomorrow morning we'll walk. Next day morning, Akbar and Birbal walk in front of his house. Gardener is shouting at his wife, you have taken it. He's saying, something is wrong. Something has wrong. So who is stolen from me? Who is my enemy? This is wrong. कल तो अच्छा था ये क्या हो गया सुबह सुबह कल प्याज से बात कर रहा था who's an asked the daughter what happened? Oh my God, I'm sure you only must have given me and कल मेरे को इतना खुश देख के 100 अशरफी मेरे को दिए होंगे उसमें से एक अशरफी नहीं है. Birbal has got 99 Ashrafi at his doorstep. He says, who will give 99? The 99 club. He had 0. Now he's got 99. Still not happy. He's so much more unhappy than yesterday. We are all part of that 99 club 99% of the time. Because we have 100 things to be happy about, that one thing is not there. All of us are part of that 99 club.
उसी को बोलते हैं ना निन्यानवे।
See, I am just 99. ये जो बोल रहा था, be happy with the imperfection. Was 99 out of 100. What do you want more? That is the imperfection which you talked about. I just modified that a little bit. I hope it's in context.
Think time, you concentrate to
Interesting time. You have a tiles, 100 tiles are okay, one tile has a black spot, everybody is watching only that. Same, that's also the 99 club, same story.
I remember one article about written by Amir Khan. So he said that if the world knows Amir Khan as a perfectionist, and he realized that I have to correct myself because the perfectionist is seeing a problem that nobody else is seeing. So I am making not only myself unhappy, but everybody around me also unhappy by seeing that imperfection there where nobody else is seeing and highlighting. So if I have to be perfect, I have to be doing at least for myself. I have to control for myself also, but at least not spread it around.
See, just being on the other side of the story, it's people like Amir Khan or Steve Jobs who are the stupid guys, who are the guys who really push everybody on cheap. Not saying that it's not there, but we want to be happy. At this point of time, we want our toes, we want our nose, we want to be in the now, we just want to be, don't want to go and change the world. So we are in that space today. We have to be very clear that we are in that space. We are not here to go and create an empire. We are not looking at be us. That is my take on it.
So in spite of doing all this, you know that there is a imminent danger. So how to conquer that? Is it important to be happy when there is a
So Harish, what is the
Danger,
imminent danger? Is it going to kill you?
Yeah.
Is it going to kill you? Any imminent danger you can think of which will come and kill you? At worst, reduce death by 30%.
not the well? It's a day.
Where is the danger today in life? Tell me one time when you are in danger of your life.
Yeah, there are a lot of
Tell me
examples.
one time when you are in danger of your life.
So I realized of late that on this planet, we as a species will not survive more than 70 years. The way we are polluting it. So that is the danger that lurking.
So
So
I
how
think that
can you
is,
be happy when there is a task for you to achieve?
so that is where the amygdala is being used by all these people.
So forget about all the people. Your science and your
I'm telling you. See, you look at this earth. You look at this earth. We have never been as a community in a better space than today. The only people who are misusing your amygdala by putting this fear of, you know, shortages, the fear of heat wave and stuff like that, which is creating an issue. You understand one thing with the way technology is. Today, anybody in life, our human ingenuity is so good. And with, I was talking before you came in about the population plateauing. Our population is not growing anymore. So our consumption is not going at the same pace, but our productivity is. The way the green technologies are picking up today, I mean, we are already at the path of reversal. It is just some people want to create their own self-importance, create that amygdala, and then it becomes a movement by itself. Believe me, we are not in danger of anything right now.
So, okay, let me not give that example. Ignorance is bliss sometimes. So let me not get.
Okay, I'm ignoring
But
that.
I'm giving you another example that there is somebody in your family. Two examples I give. Who is very dear to you, and he or she is about to die of a disease, right? So all other things, you put it aside. Whatever coefficient, denominator, dominator, it will become infinite, right? That is one point which you have to understand. The other thing is because of this amygdala, we survived on this, we evolved on this planet.
100%.
Otherwise, we would not have. And the real danger was there as a fish, as a reptile, as a hominin. If we did not care for that danger, we would not have survived, right?
100%.
So that is very important also.
It is the most important. I started off with that only. It is the most important and most this thing. But unfortunately, it is being misused by outside forces. It is being misused or rather overused by yourself. Misused and overused. It is always the most important. In Hindi, it is Mati. Mati Gyan is also the most important. Unfortunately, it is overused and abused by others. I'm only worried about that. I'm not saying it is not important. It is most important. Even today, if you want to survive, amygdala has to be there. Otherwise, you go right in the center of the road.
Yeah.
It's only because of amygdala you are standing on the side.
Yes.
No doubt about it. But the point is use and abuse and overuse. That is the only thing which we need to protect ourselves.
What we are talking about here is not about the problem statement. Problems are bound to happen. How you take up the problem in a very systematic way and not kind of get shocked about it and overreact.
That's well
So
appreciated.
let's say you have a problem statement of carbon footprint. He thinks it is reversing, but you say ignorance is this. I know what the reality is, but let's say you are right. Now, you know the problem statement. Instead of panicking about it or making the people around panic about it, we work on the solution. And how do we take it?
No,
So I just add to what he said. He said it absolutely rightly. So there is a problem. There are two things. Amygdala comes, sort of stops everything else now. The other thing is you focus. Okay, this is the situation. We need to work on it. We are working on it today. We make a green hydrogen. We make solar panels. We ensure our carbon footprint comes down. Become a Jake like me. We don't eat non-veg. So everything is reducing the carbon footprint. So you work on that instead of fearing about the future. Karmaniya Vandikaraste, work on the current which you want to do. Don't worry about the result which is going to happen tomorrow. You want to take action on it. But do not worry about the future. Even if whatever you are saying is 100% right, there is a way of reacting to it in a much more proactive and a positive way.
Coming back to your now, then
Yeah.
be happy in the now. Be happy.
Be
in the now.
happy. Be focused on the now. In this case, be focused on the now. What I want to do today. Shall I set up 3 more hydrogen plants or shall I set up 3 more solar power plants? Like I said, become vegetarian. All of you, please become vegetarians from today. You'll reduce the carbon footprint. Anything, which can be do it now without getting too much. What happens that psyche overpowers your reasoning. Also,
It is the right knowledge that you need to gain and become aware. That's the
you
basic.
become aware and you take action without getting overpowered by that concept.
Educate ourselves. Become aware.
Aware.
Take actions with right consciousness.
So if I
But no questions on do's and no's. It's so simple, physics and chemistry.
yes, yes. No, Ajay.
Do's and no's. But remember those, I am saying this again. Just remember do's and no's. The PowerPoint is with you. Those will have all the just data. It won't talk about the many things, but the points that you are writing will all be there. No's is the physics. Nature, oxygen, sleep, exercise. Chemistry, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphin. Those are the only 4 words, 5 words in this whole presentation, like I said, which are big words, those and amygdala. Other than that, what I have talked is the classification.
Thought around this. A lot of this is about contentment. I have synthesized this, right? Now take this to corporate world. You're a successful corporate guy. They say stay hungry, stay foolish. Right? The moment you have contentment in everything, there is complacency that sets in. Now, how do you keep yourself ignited to get to that next thing. Because if it was so simple, we could still be cave people, right? The caveman, because they were most content in this. So how do you bridge this?
Balance.
Yeah, there is a paradox.
So what you say is absolutely right, and I really like that statement. So that's why I give that statement that unless you have people like that who are stay hungry, stay foolish, you won't have the iPhone. You're absolutely right on. But you know, there are two things if you look at your day-to-day life about the gap between contentment and the passion for excellence. First, I will tell you this very simple statement which I read somewhere, not my own. Celebrate all your successes with your heart. Deal with the failures with your mind. 7 out of 10 things are done. Celebrate the 7 things, become very happy, become very content. There are 3 things which still to be done. Think with your mind and say, this is the action I need to take. What happens? I tell you. Then I do a to-do list. I have 7 out of 10 things. 7 things I have picked with my mind. ये 7 तो हो गया. अब ये 3 नहीं साला ये जो होगा. Why the hell did this? Why I am not able to complete this? Am I stupid? We take it to the heart. Just reverse it. We have to do all the 10. I'm not saying that we have people 7 being done and don't do the balance 3. But just flip the heart and the mind. Heart and the brain. You need to use your brain in a positive angle that how I have to solve these 3 items. Instead of getting your emotion in those 3 items, why the hell this? You have to analyze what is it I need to do now, again now, so that I can solve these 3 problems. Instead of saying that these 3 things are going to mess up my life in future, this is going to happen, that is going to happen, probably it will happen. But concentrate on the now. What can you do to solve these 3 things? I was with Ajit Doval, great guy. We were in a meeting and I asked this question. He was smiling, laughing like me. पर पूरे दुनिया का बोझ है. The whole bloody country is on you, Pakistan, Nagaland, this, that. And here you are smiling to us. And you have been with us for 1 hour, there has been no phone call, there has been nobody coming. No, disturb you. It's very simple. There are 50 things which can happen. 46 out of them I can do shit about it. I can do nothing about it. They will happen whichever way I do, whatever I do. I have control on 4 things which I can do, which will have a leverage of the other. I concentrate only on those 4, forget about them. So while you can do things positively, and just to flip around that question, a happier person is a more productive person. Always. A person who's a little more contented will do well more. It's only a saying that unless the ass is on fire, you won't perform. But if you actually see the growth which happens, if you see the innovations which happen, just only the contented mind which is not bothered by too many things, which will come up with creative things. The things which come under pressure will be a 5%, 10% increase. The things happen out of a contented mind gets a 10x. I'm not disputing the stay hungry, stay foolish sort of a thing. But most of us, if we can just flip the brain and the mind, use the mind, emotions for happiness, and brain for the work. Instead of the other way around, I think it would be easier and a better.
It also exists one sense of purpose we should have. The purpose, the sense of purpose is
Very, very important. And like I said, in the first maths of happiness, have only 2-3 focus areas. So stay hungry, stay foolish is very clear. There are only 2 or 3 statements on which they are following. They don't have 20 things to follow. So if you are going to get emotionally involved in a couple of projects which are there, keep it only to 1 or 2. You can handle it. If there are 20 things which are going to emotionally imbalance you, you are in trouble. If you are 1 or 2, you can still handle it. So sense of purpose and a focus on that will help.
I get this point, but I also want to, this is a great session. I just want to challenge this because
Yeah.
I'm a guy.
That's why I'm here. I can learn something.
I'm a guy from biology. You might be a maths guy, but I'm
Yeah.
a guy from biology. So this entire thing about doing things from heart, nothing of emotion, nothing of anything else comes from heart. It all boils to brain, right? So this, we believe that we are doing something from heart and doing something from brain. The fact is that most of it, as far as the emotional response, thinking, or the biochemical response is all being triggered from brain. So in theory, you might separate between heart and because it's the dil ka मामला आपने वो word has बनाया, but the fact is everything is happening from the brain. And so while we might segregate, but lot of, in fact, everything, even the heart is running on the command from God.
No, absolutely true,
Just-
doctor.
I
I mean, I have used only poetic license, but I do want to emphasize the difference between the emotion. See, while the emotions also come from the brain, but I'm saying deal with something with emotion, deal something with clinical psychology. I mean, clinically. You can deal something clinically, something with emotion, both from the brain, agree. But emotion किसमें डालना है? खुश होने में डालना है. सॉल्व करने के लिए खाली क्लिनिकल रहो. Be very focused that this is 1, 2, 3. I'm going to solve this action.
Sorry. Good.
Answer your question, I think we are psychologically driven. Achieve self-esteem in the highest order of self-purpose also. So in that action, you will find your content.
Yeah, okay. I think not everyone is driven by the sense of life. It depends on what stage of the Maslow's hierarchy you are there. Depends upon, and that sense of purpose comes only with maturity. Very few people will get it early in life. So again, sense of purpose changes as you grow in life and what exposure you have had to life. But I get your point that sense of purpose will define the impact, whether it is individual or whether it is going on.
Like to add one more point, subject to your permission.
Please.
Like contentment is understood as ambition. So this is our lack of ambition. Ambition, contentment is ambition without avariciousness. Because in the Gita of the God Krishna said, whatever you do vigatachvara, without avariciousness. So when you are that avariciousness, you can't get contented, the mind doesn't work. So if we cannot equate contentment with lack of ambition, there is no growth. So it is ambition without feverishness. So unless the mind is settled down, contentment in that context is unless you are contented, you can't have creative thoughts.
So adding on to that, I want your validation on one more thought process which I live my life. Okay, so I will take the cue from your talk also. So there is a misnomer in the word, again talking to contentment. Spirituality is equal to contentment and happiness. That is the misnomer generally when I talk to people around me. Second thing is spirituality is equal to being happy in whatever less you can have. Less. So people say that ज़्यादा रहेगा, ज़्यादा tension होएगा, ज़्यादा problem होएगा. Have less. To that, taking the cue from your talk, and I have one more example to that. One is the Ashami Nyangviwali. And second example to the same is, again, maybe Akbar and Birbal were passing by a river and they see a Lakadhara with a big bunch of wood on his head. And he just jumps over the river. And it is miraculous. With that weight, he has just crossed the river with a jump. And then Birbal बोलता है कि देखो मजा दिखाता हूँ आपको. He calls that guy and says, मैं तुमको 100 अशर्फी दूंगा अगर एक और बार करोगे. This time when he attempts, he falls into the river. So उसको बुला के अकबर पूछता है क्या हुआ? तुम इतना आराम से कर लिया, second time में क्या हुआ? पहले वो 100 अशर्फी का वजन और आ गया. So
That's the reason why I spoiled all my shots and gone.
so my take to that is आगे रह के मतलब स्पिरिचुअल जो लोग बेंट ऑफ माइंड है उनके लिए भी एक मैसेज मैं देना चाहता हूं. आई वांट योर वैलिडेशन ऑन दैट कि अगर कुछ हाथ में रहे, खाली बाबा जी तीन बाबा रह के कोई भी खुश रह सकता है. Do your achievements, have it all and still show how you can be happy. And उसके लिए ही इस तरह के टॉक्स चाहिए, इस तरह के अंडरस्टैंडिंग चाहिए, so that you can keep achieving and still be happy.
And from people like him.
And people
Yes,
like
because you can actually relate it because this was what we heard from any Baba, people of the corporate world to believe that you can be successful in
Yes,
corporate.
achieve, and achiever
And
only.
then actually
Simultaneous.
be able to relate to this exemplar, really wonderful.
You accept things from an achiever.
To add to this note, वो बोलते हैं कि रोना तो सबको है, आप मनुष्य प्रकृति में
अरे
आए
यार, ये टॉक सुनने के बाद रोना क्यों यार?
but still it is way better to cry in a BMW than
Thank you, gentlemen.
I would like to summarize this part.
please come forward and just Mahesh, you have to come in the front.
No, I'm actually in awe of your talk, Devendra. I have known you for so many years, never seen this side, and so glad, Girish, for making this happen. So you started by saying that you're an engineering and management guy, and you put physics, chemistry, and maths, but I think there's much more. And let's quickly go back to the physics part of it, the nose, the chemistry part of it, the dose, the maths, which is H is equal to du by df. Just add du raised to power n and df raised to power minus n. I think that is a better way of putting that thing. You also added spirituality into this. You also added psychology into this. You also added practicality into this. Beyond just the TCA part, so it was an overall, I would say, beautiful way of looking at happiness in a practical world. Thank you so much for this session. As a doctor, I was looking at biology and you brought the anatomy with